In this video, I'm going to be going in depth on how to create consistent characters within Midjourney. I'm going to show you the step-by-step system I've devised in order to do this effectively and also for free. So if you want to start creating consistent characters, you won't need a tool like Photoshop or anything like that. I found a method that works pretty well, and you can also do this for completely free. In this video, I'm not only going to show you my workflow for creating these consistent characters, but I'm also going to show you my workspace for organizing these consistent characters. So if this workspace that I'm using throughout the video interests you and it's something that you want to purchase, you can do so using the link in the description or the top pinned comment. Now this workspace is my Art Studio 2.0, and this consistent characters hub that you're about to see comes within my Art Studio. So if you do want to purchase that, you get the entire thing. Without further ado, let's get into creating consistent characters in Midjourney. So as you can see, I am in my AI Art Studio 2.0. It's basically just a nice spot where you can keep all of your AI art, the prompts you used in order to generate that art. You have some engineered prompts that I designed for you, so you can copy and paste these into Midjourney and get some nice results using the prompts. And also within here are 625 Midjourney design components. So within each of these sections, let's go to subjects, for example, there are components that you can use for your AI art, and each component has a picture. You can open up these categories, and you can see what different words and different styles and emotional tones do to your prompt. So that's one side of the AI Art Studio, and within this AI Art Studio is the Consistent Characters Hub, which we will be using for the rest of this video. Now, this hub is wonderful when it comes to creating consistent characters. Not only does it help me organize all of my different character variations, but it also helps me organize the scenes that I create from those character variations and all of my characters, my projects, and everything I'm dealing with when it comes to consistent characters. And so I didn't forget how to do this, and so you don't forget how to do this. I've also left a consistent design system here on the left, basically a step-by-step process of everything I'm going to be running through in this video. So if you ever want to reference back to it, I leave GIFs. You can double click to enlarge these GIFs and see what I was doing. And this is just a great way to ingrain this system into your head. And also, if you ever need help, you can just come in here and take a look at one of these steps. Now let's get into my consistent characters workflow when it comes to creating these characters within Midjourney and Notion. Now the Notion steps are optional. If you want to organize your folders and your images on your desktop or on a separate SSD or in a Google Drive, you can do that as well. Step number one is creating a project. You can think of projects like folders that all of your characters, variations, and scenes will fall into. So first what I'm going to do is create a project for these consistent characters to go in. So as you can see, I already have a project here called the Enchanted Forest, and when this project starts to get filled out, this is sort of what it looks like. I can click on one of my character variations very easily, and it looks very nice, and I can easily reference that in the future. But let's start by creating a new project. So I'm going to hit my Create a Project button. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this project a title. Let's say I'm creating a book about a girl who lives on a farm, something very basic. Maybe I can just call it Life on the Farm. I'm just going to look up a farm animal. Maybe I have a cow here, and I'll upload that, change the color to red. And now what I'm going to do is just give this project a quick description so I know what it's about. Now I can give it a deadline. Let's say I want this done by August 1st. That'll be great. And now I can upload my own cover photo. I can just hit change cover, upload, and now I'm going to go create a cover photo in Midjourney. I have a very simple prompt here, Pixar styled barn. I'm just going to send that off. I want this book to be in a Pixar style, so this will work out great. Okay, so I have my Pixar styled barn here, and now I can upload it to that cover photo. And now it is uploading in. I can reposition it if I want. And now I have my project created, and the project is within not started since I haven't started on this project yet, but I can change this to an in progress project, and that will move it to the in progress tab, which is very nice. Step number two is to create a character. Now, this doesn't have to be done in Notion. Personally, I am going to do it in Notion just so I can keep everything in one place, but you can do this on a paper and pencil, in a Google Doc, or wherever you can keep notes and start thinking of character designs and ideas in order to create a good character for your project. So I'm going to hop back into Notion and create a character file within my database. So what I'm going to do is under my command center, I'm going to hit create a character. And again, you do not have to do this step in Notion. If you have a paper and pencil, a Google Doc, or whatever it may be, you can do that there as well. Let's say her name is Jane. What I can do is I can just type in the name Jane here, And now I'm prompted to give a character description for Jane. Here in the description, I want to think of some features that I can give Jane, and I also want to think of her role in the book or the project that I'm dealing with. So, is she the main character? Is she a side character? Protagonist, antagonist, whatever it may be. Now, this description is pretty weak, but it will get the job done for now. I have a goofy redhead girl who works on the farm for her family. Main character in Life on the Farm. So now I have the main character listed, and I have a little description. And now below description, I'm going to link Jane to a project. So I'm going to do Life on the Farm. And now she's linked to Life on the Farm. And for now, since I don't have a character design sheet, I can just click off into some empty space. I can create as many characters as I want. I'm just going to stick to one right now so we can focus in and learn the techniques involved in creating a consistent character sheet for one individual. So the next step in creating consistent characters with Midjourney is making your consistent character design sheet. Now this step is a little subjective. Not one result is the right result. It just depends on your wants and needs within your character. Now this will take some testing, so you do have to be patient as well. But the design sheet's purpose is to get many different consistent character designs and elements that you can use in order to start generating good variations to be used in scenes. Now that may sound like a lot and a mouthful, and you may be a little confused, but we're basically just trying to get a nice character design sheet that we can use in order to reference for future images. So this is going to be the base model of our character that we are creating. As you can see, I have this nice template prompt here in step 3, character design sheets. And this is the prompt that has worked well for me when designing a character design sheet. A lot of people have these huge prompts that they use, but I like to just keep it simple and do a couple of words just so Midjourney can really target in what I am looking for. So I'm going to copy this prompt. I will also leave this prompt in the description below, so if you do want to use it, feel free to. It's worked well for me. You can change some things about it, make it your own, but this will give you a nice foundation to start creating your character design sheet. Now that I'm in Midjourney, I'm going to type in /imagine. I'm going to paste in that template prompt, and now I'm going to list out some character features. So right off the bat, we know that this girl is going to be a redhead, and we know that we want this to be a girl. So first I'm going to type in red-haired girl. Maybe I want her to be around 6 to 7 years of age. Maybe I'm making a children's book, so I want this girl to appear to be young. So maybe I'll put 6 years old. I can keep on adding to those character features by putting something like short, just so Midjourney understands I want this to be a younger character within my book. Now that we have some of those character features in there, we don't want to overwhelm Midjourney. Maybe I can put something like blue eyes. But the more and more features you start to put in, the less and less Midjourney will actually use those features. So stick to a solid 3 features and just try to go off that. If you get too complex and too descriptive, Midjourney will start leaving things out, and it's not going to be the exact way you want it to be. And now here we can list a style for this character. So one of my favorite styles that I always find myself using is the Pixar styled characters. I think these turn out very, very nicely. And just like that, we have in our character style now. I'm sure there are many other different character styles you can come up with or do, but for now I just want to keep it at this Pixar style because I think it looks very nice to the eye. And then this is something I always leave in here. This helps generate the character sheet right here. Multiple expressions and poses, character sheet. And now I can get into the character clothing. And just like the character features, you want to keep this very minimal. You don't want any exotic or eccentric clothing, but what you want is something simple like black t-shirt, brown pants, and you want to keep this as little as possible so you can actually get those consistent characters. If you start throwing in things like red and blue striped backpack with green and black shoelaces, it's like Midjourney cannot handle all of that in one prompt, unfortunately. That's just the way it is. So keep your characters as plain and as simple as possible, and Midjourney should be able to get the job done. And now the initial character design sheet is ready to send off. Now this may need tweaking, and this is the part that takes a lot of testing, upscaling, creating variations, and all of that. But this is a good base prompt in order to generate a consistent character design sheet for your Notion and Midjourney in order to start creating these character variations. So let's send this off. So this is a prime example of what I mean when Midjourney is touchy about clothing articles and other things. As you can see, I asked for a black t-shirt and green pants, and it gave me a green t-shirt with black pants. So this is where the testing kind of comes in. Or maybe you actually see this and you like the idea of what Midjourney generated you. And to be honest, I'm kind of liking the green on top. I think it accents the red hair a little bit better than the black t-shirt with green pants. It just makes more sense to have black pants with a green t-shirt, so I guess Midjourney is actually kind of saving me on this one. Now I'm going to tweak the prompt a little bit in order to get this a little bit more the way I want it. I don't really see any of these that I love, so I'm just going to try to change a few little things. I've changed up the prompt a little bit. I got rid of 6 years old, and I added cartoon character in here, and I separated out Pixar style. I also told it to give me full body shots just so I can get the full character in action. And then I have green t-shirt, black pants. I decided to change it around. I like the idea that Midjourney gave me, so I'm going to run with it. Now I'm going to send this one off. And while that one's sending off, if you do see something that you do like up here, what you can do is you can upscale it and then generate some variations while your new prompt is generating as well, so you can do multiple jobs at once. I didn't mind this design sheet. It's just some of the features are interesting. Like, it looks like in this one, she's eating her hand, which is kind of interesting. And her eye looks very different in this pose. So maybe we can just make some strong variations and see if it can generate us anything good. Now, after doing the variations on the initial image that I kind of liked, I actually got some better results, and I think I like this top left one a lot here. It looks like there are a lot of different poses and expressions, so this will be great for Midjourney to pull from. Once we upscale this image, zoom it out a little in order to get the full body shot of the subject, and then cut them out. So what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to upscale this top left image here. And now that that image has been scaled, what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom out 1.5x. Now you can check what the zoom out did on all 4 of these, and you can make a decision at your discretion on which ones you like the best. Personally, I like the top right the best. The goal is to have 7 to 10 good character designs that you can cut out in the future. So now I'm going to upscale this character design sheet, the final character design sheet that I like, and that would be upscaling number 2. And now that this is upscaled, I can save it to my computer and put it within my character file, or if you don't have a character file, you can put it within a folder on your desktop or a Google Drive. So now that I have that character design sheet saved, what I can do is I can go back to my characters on my project, and now I can hit add an image now that I have that character design sheet ready to go, and I can upload it. So now we have this nice character design sheet in here, and we can always reference it and come back to it if we ever need it again. And it's all right here with a nice display on our character section. So when I open up the Enchanted Forest, as you can see, when you start getting a ton of characters in here, this looks very cool. The next step in creating consistent characters in Midjourney is isolating the characters from your consistent design sheet. And we can do that using 2 free tools. First, we need a free tool that can crop your images. Then we need a free tool that can cut out the backgrounds of those images as well. So let me dive in and I'll show you the 2 free options that you can use in order to get this done. So the first tool is I Love Image, and you can use this I Love Image tool in order to crop all of your images. This is a free tool, so you can just select images and then crop them in. So if I hit select images and then hit my character design sheet within my folder, what will happen is this will pop up, and this will allow you to actually move this box around and adjust it to cut out certain characters. So now I can go over here and I can isolate this character so that this character is in one photo. And we're isolating all of these characters right now so we can later upload them to Midjourney. So Midjourney has a good idea when we reference those images on the type of character that we want when we are creating our character variations for our scenes. So this is a crucial step in doing this because you need these isolated characters in order for Midjourney to reference them and to know what you want to design. So now that I have my character in this little box here, what I can do is I can hit crop image, and now I can hit download cropped image, and it will save right there. Now, I don't upload these cropped images to my Notion. I just save these cropped images on a place somewhere within my desktop or my Google Drive folder. And after you crop out one, you can hit the back arrow on your computer, and you can select your images again and continue to do that until all of your characters are cropped out that are worthy of being cropped out and referenced within your photos. So I'm going to go through here, and I'm going to repeat this process for all of the images that I need cropped out. Okay, and now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 images cropped out that will be great for referencing and creating character variations in different poses with. So this is great, but The problem is some pictures that you generate within your character design sheets have a background to them, and you want to remove that background so Midjourney does not reference those colors when you're creating your character variation. Now, this is a personal step that I like to add in just because it makes Midjourney only look at the character and no colors at all in the background. So if you take a look, Jane's image is probably fine, and you probably don't need to remove the background because it's just a white background. But when I generated this Drake character for my Enchanted Forest book, as you can see, the background had this brownish tone. And I didn't want Midjourney referencing that brown color when creating character variations, so I remove all friction and just remove the background. A free tool you can use in order to remove the background is backgroundcut.co. I will leave links to all of these tools in the description, but this provides a nice, easy drag and drop upload to remove the background. So I'm going to drag and drop all of these images in here, and it will remove the background of them like shown. I'm going to hit download, and then it will create another image down below. So now would be a good time to actually start moving these into folders. Now I'm going to repeat that process for all 7 of my images so the background is completely removed. So now I have PNG cutouts of all of those characters that I've generated within that design sheet, and I took out the bad characters, I cropped in the good ones that I liked, and now I have 7 PNGs using those free tools that I showed you. I first cropped the images out that I wanted, and then I removed the background from them and saved them to my desktop. The next step is actually uploading those images that you saved somewhere on your computer or on your desktop to Midjourney. So those PNG cutouts you just created, you want to upload them to Midjourney, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Uploading your characters to Midjourney is very simple. All you need to do is hit this plus button where you type in your prompt, and then hit upload a file. And then you can just click and drag, and then hit open on all of your images, or you can select your first image, and then on your last image, hold shift and then select it, and it will select all of your images for you. Then you can hit open. Now all of your images have been imported into Midjourney. But before you leave this page, make sure you hit enter to send them into the chat. And it's okay if some are bigger than others. That's just the way it will format it. But you can scroll through here and see all of your different character designs that you have currently. The next step when it comes to creating consistent characters is to use those images that you've uploaded into Midjourney as references for creating character variations. So what are the poses you actually want your character to be doing? Do you want your character to be running? Do you want them to have a worried expression on their face? What do you want your character to look like? What do you want your character to be doing? What kind of poses do you want? This is the section where you create all of that. We've uploaded these images to Midjourney for a reason, and that's because we are going to reference all of them within our prompt. So first, we are going to type in /imagine, and then we are going to right-click all of these images and hit copy link on each one and paste it within our prompt. After you paste it in, make sure you hit space so that you aren't right up against your last link. Otherwise, this won't work if you paste them all in one big row. So make sure that they have adequate space between by hitting the space bar once, and then you rinse and repeat. You copy, paste, and you do the same for all of these images. Make sure that there's a space in between once again. If you don't make sure there's a space in between, then it will all run together like that, and that's not what you want. You want there to be a nice space in between each of your images. So I'm going to copy the rest of these links and upload them into the chat. Now you have all the links of your images copy and pasted within Midjourney. So now what you need to do is you need to scroll up and find the prompt you used in order to generate your character design sheet. In this case, I used this prompt in order to generate all of these characters that I uploaded. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that prompt, and after the last image I uploaded, I'm going to hit space, and I'm going to paste in that prompt. So this looks like a long, weird-looking prompt, but what Midjourney is doing is when you upload all of these images, it's actually referencing those images, and it's going to try to create a character that looks like these images. So now you are going to leave your prompt exactly the same, except where it says multiple expressions and poses, character sheet, you want to delete that section and then actually type in the pose or the expression you want. And just like when creating the character design sheets, this step is going to take a lot of tweaking and fixing in order to get right and in order to get exactly what you want. So it's very important to be patient, keep testing new things, try variations, upscaling it, zoom out, all of that stuff. So let's say I want a running pose of this character. Maybe I could type in something like dynamic running pose. And then I can put a comma. I can put something like full sprint. Maybe I want her to be laughing and running, so I could also put laughing face and another comma. So now we have kind of the pose we want for this character. Dynamic running pose, full sprint, laughing face. And this is a good starting spot. We can just throw this off, send it off to Midjourney, and see how it does when generating these images. So I'm going to hit enter and send that off. And as you can see, the beautiful thing about uploading all of these images to reference in Midjourney is it generates a character that looks exactly like the character within our character design sheet that we generated. So anytime you need a new pose or variation to put within a different scene, you can just copy all of these images in the prompt you used and then change the pose here. And I really like this top right image, and I want to utilize this within the work, but the full body is not in here. So once again, I'm going to upscale that image and I'm going to zoom out 1.5x. So now I'm going to hit zoom out 1.5x so we have that nice running pose. So let's say while this image is generating on the zoom out, I want to get started on a new pose or a new expression. What I can do is I can just copy this entire prompt with all of those image links. I can hit Control C, or I can right click it and hit copy. And then I can go down to my new /imagine and paste it in. That way you don't have to keep grabbing all 7 of those links or however many reference pictures you upload every single time. Just copy and paste your prompt, and now all of these links are already here. Then you can go back to where you typed in your pose or your expression, and you can delete that. And now you can start typing in another pose or expression. So now maybe for this next prompt, I want a worried expression for this character. I want it to be a front view so it's not on that side angle. And then I also want this image to be closer up to the subject. That way we can really get a zoomed in dramatic shot on her face looking worried. Maybe there's a section in the book where something happens and this character needs to look worried. Well, what we can do is we can generate a variation for that, and then we can later generate a scene to put that variation into. Now, while that one is generating, it looks like our full sprint laughing pose has zoomed out very nicely. Now we can kind of choose that pose we want. So it looks like this top left one is the best. I like how it includes her entire footing, and everything within the image looks great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to upscale this image right here. And now we have a rough draft of this character running pose, and it turned out very nicely. What I'm going to do is I'm going to upscale this first image because I think the character and the clothing matches very well, but the facial expression isn't as worried as I would have liked. So I'm going to upscale this image, and now that it's upscaled, I'm going to do a very strong, and hopefully it leaves the eye color, the string color, and the sweatshirt color. There's a lot of components here that I'm starting to realize that need to be the same. So the goal of this is to get a more worried expression in this kind of view. I like the exact angle. I like how close up it is. So we need to get a worried expression within this view. I'm also just going to do a very subtle, just so we can get some subtle changes, and just to see if that helps with this prompt a little bit as well. And this very subtle actually turned out very good. No pun intended. What we can do is we can actually upscale this fourth image. It has those white strings, which look very nice, very similar to the running pose. The expression is worried, and it also kept that same angle. I could even do a zoom out 1.5x if I wanted to in order to get the top of her head, so we have some room to mess around with when we are uploading it to a scene. Now, I think this bottom left one does a better job with her hair. It makes it a little bit more curly. The top one makes it a little too straight, and the other images are appearing as more curly hair. So the bottom left is the one I'm going to go with. Now, for the sake of time and moving on in this tutorial, I'm going to leave it at 2 variations. You can generate as many variations as you want for as many characters as you want as well. But for now, I'm just going to use the worried expression and the running pose right here. And just like the isolating character step where we cut out the backgrounds, we are going to need to do the same with these images. So save these 2 images to your computer, go to backgroundcut.co, that one tool that I showed you, then you can upload them there and cut out the background so you have that image with no background. Let's go back to backgroundcut.co, the free background cutting tool, and let's first upload our running pose so we can get that image, and then we can hit download here, and we can also upload our worried expression pose, and we can hit download on that as well. So now we have both of these images cropped out with no background. Now we've been kind of all over the place, so now it's time to bring it back into Notion and organize our database with these character variations. So what we're going to do is we're going to upload these character variations to our Notion database. And if you do not want this Notion database or don't have this Notion database, then organize them within a Google Drive folder or somewhere on your desktop where you can continue proper organization for your project. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit create a character variation, and here I'm going to give this a name. So first I'm going to upload the running pose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to name this Jane, and then I'm going to put a hyphen and put running pose, just so I have that proper organization in there and I'm not getting confused with anything. And now where it says related character, I'm going to select where it says empty, and then I'm going to map this to Jane. So we have that character related to Jane now, and now we have to relate this to a project. So we are going to relate it to Life on the Farm. And now you can upload an image variation below. So since we are uploading this running pose, what we can do is we can add an image, upload file, and we can upload the cutout version of the running pose. So when I hit open, it will appear as a nice cutout running pose of Jane. So when I select in some empty space, as you can see, when we go into the variations tab under your characters, we will have Jane's running pose in here. And then if you look at my other project, we have all of these different character variations in here as well. So I can close that, and now we can add a new character variation for Jane so we can start to get this database a little bit more developed and organized. I'm going to create another character variation. I'm going to type in Jane, worried, expression. I'm going to relate this character obviously to Jane, related project, Life on the Farm, upload my character variation, upload file, worried expression, and now we have this worried expression in here. So if we ever lose it, we can always come back here and hit download when we do need to use it. So now when I select in some empty space, we have all of Jane's variations in here. And if you are doing a big project, having loads and loads of variations is going to be very useful in order to create good scenes. So we basically have the consistent character designs down. We now have a ton of images that we can reference in Midjourney in order to create those consistent character variations. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go the extra mile and show you how to create good scenes and upload those characters to scenes. If you are struggling with this, then this section should help, as you can do it for completely free. So step one is we need to actually add a background for our character. So let's say we want to use a running pose. Maybe we want a path, some trees, and we want this scene to really come together with the running pose. Well, this may also take some testing, just like everything else does when creating consistent characters, but it can be done with a few simple tricks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off this prompt with /imagine. And now that I have my /imagine prompt in here, what I want to make sure I do is pull in certain elements that are going to match the background with the character. So I don't want a hyper-realistic image of a farm. I want a Pixar-styled farm, since that is the style of my character. You want to match those two, so you want to include elements of those words within your background prompt as well. So I'm just going to start off by saying Pixar-styled path. Then I'm going to put first-person view, so it looks like that somebody is watching her run on this path. And I've also changed this to say horizontal path, so that it looks like your character is actually running alongside this path, because as you can see, her character has a little bit of angle to the way she's running, so we don't want it to look like she's running on a straight-on path, otherwise it will look like she's running into nothing. So we're going to make sure we say horizontal path. I also added wooded area, and behind first-person view, I put barn in background. So I'm really trying to develop the scene, bright and sunny day, flowers, and I just put some other elements that I want present within this image. And I'm going to make this AR 16:9, so we have that nice wide background shot for the subject to go into. Now this prompt will take some tweaking, I'm very sure, but this is a good base foundation. We've added some of the character style so that it matches the background, and I think we are ready to send this off. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. As you can see, these images didn't turn out as bad as I thought they would. We have some nice paths here. We have this nice Pixar style, but now we just have to find the one that matches the character the best. And we can also modify the prompt a little bit if we aren't liking what we see. So after a little bit of tweaking and just making the prompt more simple, this is what I got. Now this really comes down to personal preference, depending on what kind of style of image you want, but this is kind of what I was imagining. Now I wanted more of a red barn in the background, but for the sake of example and the sake of time in this tutorial, I think this will do, and I want to get into showing you how you can upload your character variations to scenes so you actually have a nice image for your project. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this image by hitting open link, save image as, and after I have this image saved, what I can do is I can head over to Canva. Now what we can do in Canva is hit create design and hit import file. Now you can upload your background and it will pop up like this. You can hit use in a new design, custom size, create new design. Now it will take you to a new page where you can upload your characters. As you can see, I've already uploaded my character running in here, but if you want to, you can hit upload files and find it on your desktop. So what you can do is you can drag in your character here, and now you have to mess with it in order to make it look like the character fits the scene. Now this is the downside of not using a paid tool like Photoshop, is it's much harder to make your character look like they're fitting into the scene, but if you move them to the right angle, you can tilt them a little bit, you can make them good in size in relation to different objects on the picture, then you can actually come up with something pretty good and the scene can turn out very nice. So you don't want your subject looking that big because then she's half the size of the tree and it doesn't make sense. So this is a part where you kind of have to mess around with it and look at items around the scene and take the character in relation to those items. You can rotate your character to make it look like they're more running rather than standing straight up. And now this actually looks like it turned out pretty good. You can make this character look much further away by making them smaller as well. And maybe they're running from over here in the grass. You could have them right there. So now they're running from further away, or you can make them bigger and have them appear much closer up as well. When you're happy with your scene and you're ready to save it, in the upper right-hand corner, you can hit the share button. And then there will be a download option right here, and you can download it as a JPG. And these file sizes should work good for now. If you want to upgrade to Pro, you can, but I do not have the Pro version and it works out just fine for me. Then you can hit download once your scene has been created. Now that you have your scene created, you can either stop there and upload it to Google Drive, or if you are using this Notion template, what you can do is organize your scenes by creating a scene. And this is the final step in organizing all of the data within your database. So within the consistent characters hub, you can hit create a scene, and then you can name your scene. And I recommend naming this to be specific to your project. So if I am doing a book, I could name it something like chapter 1, page 1, and then I can name what the scene is. Maybe Jane running in woods. Okay, so now we have very descriptive language onto where the scene is taking place, chapter 1, page 1. Then we have Jane running in woods. Now we can upload our scene below by hitting embed anything, upload, choose a file, and then uploading our design here. Now it's also important before we click off that we give it a related character, related project, and a related variation. So what went into creating this scene? Well, we had a related character of Jane. Jane is in the project of Life on the Farm, and the related variation was the Jane running pose. Now, if you get a ton of variations in here, you can always just look these up by typing it in. So we use the Jane running pose for this, and this is looking good. If you have multiple characters and multiple expressions and poses within your images here, what you can do is you can actually add multiple variations. So if my Drake character is in here from a laughing side view, I could also add that in there. Then they would be both related to this scene. I'm going to unlink that variation for now. Now I'm going to head back to the home page. And as you can see, if we go to the Scenes tab under your characters, we now have Jane running in the woods. So we can click on this, we can view our scene, and we can also go to our other scenes within our other projects, such as this running scene from the Enchanted Forest. So this has been how to create and organize consistent characters within Midjourney and Notion. Now, if you do want this consistent character hub, what you can do is purchase the AI Art Studio 2.0 using the link in the description or the top pinned comment. With that art studio, you are going to get all of those benefits, and you're also going to get that character hub. Now, this has been a pretty base level consistent character creation tutorial. If you want to, you can go super in depth in this. You can use Photoshop to create much better designs, but this is a good free alternative for those who do not want to pay for Photoshop and other tools like that. Just a reminder, within this consistent character hub, you have all of the 9 steps, what I just taught you in this video listed right here. So if you don't want to keep coming back to YouTube, I provide some nice GIFs that you can look at and follow along with in creating your consistent characters and organizing all of your data. With that being said, I hope that this tutorial was helpful for you in creating consistent characters within Midjourney. If it was, please subscribe and drop a like and a comment letting me know your thoughts. I'll see you in the next video.